Our next event is a Between Two Cacti startup spotlight on GeoKiln. Well, so GeoKiln, like how big is the pottery that you can make in the GeoKiln? Like a GeoKiln must be really big. So if I'm spinning a pot.
When I was telling you that you can ask any question, I thought about like what kind of craziest question you can come up with. I fell short of that one, but let me give you a bit of an answer. It's the size of geological formations, because that's what we're trying to do. We're going after stimulated geologic hydrogen that can be unlike the existing oil fields. And by the way, I love the way you span that whole story. Awesome. And indeed, there are not competing, but rather complementary ways of getting the hydrogen out. And to me, this is where going after formations that don't have any hydrocarbons in them, but contain the active iron that can convert water into hydrogen. That's what we're going after, and that's what we're going after with the thermal technology in order to stimulate that natural occurring reactions to get it out. So short answer, miles and miles. Yes. You need bigger hands.
Yes. I guess also, so not pottery. This is not a kiln to make pottery.
It's kiln to make money, yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you both for, I've never done a Between Two Cacti where I'm
I
in the
know,
middle,
right?
so
Do you want me to sit there so you can look at us?
I don't know. Be careful who you turn the back to.
Yeah, because
it'll be all right. No, I think this will work. So it's really a pleasure to have you both here. So Lorna Ortiz, co-founder of GeoKiln, and Alexei, is it Alexei or Alesh?
Alexei.
Alexei.
So anything other than Alex, we'll do. Alex plus a little bit at the end, everything will is great.
Okay, Alexei Tcherniak.
Very well.
Co-founder. So I want to talk a little bit about each of your backgrounds, and then get a little bit into the company. Maybe Lorna will start with you. I think you both used to work for Shell, I think, right? Or
For sure.
yes.
you don't still work for Shell, do you?
Nope.
As of February this year, I am not.
Okay, so yeah, tell me a little bit about that journey, how you all got to know each other, start GeoKiln.
Great.
A little bit about.
You want me to start?
You go.
Yeah. So I worked 20 years for Shell. I am from Puerto Rico originally, PhD chemical engineering, all the things, went into oil and gas, loved it, every minute of it, did lots of things for Shell. It's a great company to work for. And I worked in the years where we did lots of innovative, cool stuff, wrote a lot of patents, got to experiment with a lot of things in the, in the downstream, upstream. I was part of the Game Changer team. I worked with Shell Ventures, so I was always in that middle part between hardcore technology lab, brilliant minds, and somebody that wanted to make money and didn't understand that part. So I was able to translate, make it in a way where Shell can actually monetize what smart people were doing. And I loved it. I saw hundreds of technologies, and I crossed paths with Alexei, although he doesn't remember, but I do remember, because he kind of make a statement when he's in a room, you cannot miss him. So I remember him working, in different projects. And when I was a couple of years ago or so, I had the opportunity to connect with him, and he was like, you remember that thing that we used to work with in Shell? I was actually very close to this heating stimulation technology from the commercial side when he was developing into, hey, can we make money out of it, right? So other than using it, right, after spending, what, $500 million or something?
More than
so
that.
anyway, so we wanted to make money out of that, so I was part of that. And I said, of course, I believed in that. And he was like, how about we do this for hydrogen? And so I didn't think it twice. And I waited a couple more months, and I left Shell and co-founded GeoKiln. And here am I, I'm my commercial officer, and we're pushing the boundaries. And from now on, I want every Texan in the room to talk about stimulated geologic hydrogen as manufactured hydrogen, because that's what GeoKiln is doing. Engineering is great, engineered hydrogen is great, but that sounds more like designing it more than making it. We are making it, we are manufacturing it down there, and that's what GeoKiln is doing. We're doing it here in Texas. So
when was the company founded then? Was it just?
So Alexei started it right mid last year, September last year. Actually, we're a year old. year old in 1 month.
okay.
And then I joined him when I left Shell in February, March 1st. So
Okay.
I've been there almost 7 months.
Wow. Okay. So, Alexei, how did GeoKiln come about? And I guess going back to your Shell journey and some huge amount of money that was spent on something.
Well, no, well, it's actually not on something, on a very, very specific something. In fact, there are a couple more Shell colleagues sitting in the room that also have been part of that journey. But what started for me is my wife and I came to Houston 22 years ago on a 3-month assignment to Rice University. And when we arrived in August, got out of the car, it's like, not staying here a day longer. Well, it's been 22 years now. So, but never thought at that time that I'd be working for an oil and gas company because I thought I'll go in the pharmaceuticals. My PhD is in biomedical engineering. And like all the nanoparticles and the spectroscopy and what have you. And at that time, just like Lorna was describing, Shell was big on trying to go after things that were deemed impossible. That's something that, hey, if somebody thinks that it's not possible, we'll make it happen. We'll bring enough smart people and enable them to do crazy things. And that's where the subsurface heating technology that at that time was always like struggling against how much power can a single well be injecting into it. And big manufacturing companies are like, impossible. No, can do. And Shell said, oh yeah, we'll prove you. We'll bring a team of people that not necessarily are from oil and gas, but are smart enough, ambitious enough, and don't take no for an answer, and then we'll give them enough resources in order to make it happen. That's where that $500 million came in. And indeed, that was one of the engineers that worked on it, and it was an amazing experience. Like for those students in the room that you cannot possibly appreciate sometimes the scale and excitement of working on something that goes in the real life, and then you can look back and say, I was part of that. Without me and my little contribution to whatever that part, that feeling is better than publishing in Nature. Well, never published in Nature, but I hear the excitement is similar because then you go, this is awesome. And you can look back and say, this is what I did, and this is the great journey that was part of it. And then the rest of my Shell career has taken me from upstream to downstream to exploration to project. Like I was the top bureaucrat for one of the Shell segments going a lot of the it's called transformation, also known as cost cutting. To this day, I wear this little lapel pin with the scissors because that's what we were doing a lot of the stuff. And I was like, what am I doing? And is that really the path to go and make a big, proper difference in the world? And this is where maybe the idea of, just like Lorna was describing, making an impact with something that we feel really passionate and have the ability to influence. That's where the idea of like, if you want to do something, do it yourself. Therefore, if we want to change the world, let's come up with a company and have a business model that will enable us to move to the next level of energy, not transition, expansion. We need more energy mix. And to me, this is where the geological hydrogen that's net energy positive is the right way to go. Yep. So that's a long-winded answer of how the GeoKiln came about. And when I started talking with Lorna and she said, yeah, I'll join you, give me a little bit, I'm like, okay, that's it. That can happen.
Well, I was just looking at a couple of my PhD students out there. So I'm a chemical engineering professor. They're getting their PhD in chemical engineering. You have a PhD in chemical engineering?
No, it's actually a PhD in chemistry, physical chemistry.
Physical chemistry, okay.
Yes, sir.
And then was Shell your first job out of your PhD?
I was doing internships while I was pursuing all the nanoparticle spectroscopy, what have you, and at the same time working on this high temperature ceramic insulating material.
Okay.
So that was something.
So are you doing what you do now? Like, did you think back when you were doing your PhD, I'm going to work for Shell and then I'm going to start a company to make hydrogen?
Absolutely, positively not. And in fact, like I didn't even considered Shell because like oil and gas, who needs that? Like, because frankly, it was the ignorance of just the technical scale and the challenges that oil and gas is solving that unless you're in it, you oftentimes don't even realize. A lot of stuff that we've seen, and Lorna can talk about it, some of the Shell, NASA, or oil and gas and sort of space industry collaborations that, in my opinion, pale in comparison to what oil and gas does for oil and gas. If you come and think about it, our ability to extract energy that's sitting down there somewhere by drilling from the top side, doing it safely and cheaply, like, woo, how can we do that? If you were to tell that to anybody, say, 50 years ago, impossible. One thing that I loved about being part of a large oil and gas company is the ability, you come up with an idea, you you mobilize enough people around you, you can actually make something happen. And this is what we're trying to do now outside, because we feel that we're bringing that expertise, we're bringing the team, the rest of our team is also ex-Shell, because those are the people that have hands-on experience in doing this thing and scaling it up, just like Lorna was saying. That's the crucial aspect. It's one thing to show something in the lab, but it's a completely different thing to actually make a commercial project out of it. That's why the cost is important. And thank you, Prab, for making sure that people stop talking about the dollar per kilogram. Yes, we need the units that are easily transferable from place to place. That's my huge pet peeve, too.
So, Lorna, how about your background? You have a PhD also?
Yeah, I do have a PhD, chemical engineering, catalysis,
Okay, you're a
catalyst.
chemical engineer. Okay.
I worked in everything in Shell, from making catalysts, which was really funny. I started Shell working in catalysts for styrene production, and that's iron oxide. So I started with iron from early in my career, so it's how I started. But I'm going to go back to what you were asking, Alexei. I always had that entrepreneurial mind, but I come from a family in Puerto Rico that nobody goes to a corporate job. They live in the farm, they create, they build, they produce, and that's what they use, and that's what they sell, right? So come from a family that going to college was optional because we're very far away from everything. But I did know the struggles on energy access and energy independence, and that ruled me like my whole life. Living in Houston is different. I have access to everything. I've been here for 22 years or so. My kids are born here, everything. And then I have the opportunity. I was just feeling content. Like it's great when you're like doing and creating the NASA opportunity. I remember one of my highlights was to make sure that actually NASA and Shell had a collaboration where we unlocked billions of dollars in access to environmental securities in the middle of the North Sea. I mean, just incredible stuff that wasn't there, and I was able to put it together. It was great for Shell. But then what? And then what? And so when you have that DNA that you're always like, what is the next thing? And then you start seeing like, what is it where you can put your skills to change the world? What I want my kids to know when they look back and I'm not here, did mom actually unlock the next energy source for the whole world? Was she there doing that? And that's what I want. And like I said, and I tell this to Alexei and every single person and investor that I speak with, I was like, I don't have too much time. I have to do it like right now. And that rush is what he has too. And you don't find too many co-founders that in this space. In geologic hydrogen, you don't find many founders that are women as well. But I have that drive. He has that drive. We share that, and we are certain we're going to make it. But in Shell, I can never say anything bad because that was the playground that allowed us to become who we are today and to see the world from a Shell perspective and the need for that next energy source that we're trying to bring with hydrogen from subsurface.
That's amazing. So what does GeoKiln do then? I know when I was trying to figure out how I was making the giantest pot in the world and my dreams were shattered, you were telling me what GeoKiln does, but I was distracted with the pots in my head. So what is the technology? What does GeoKiln do?
Let me start off, and Lorna will definitely jump in, and I know she will. So our approach is we want to use the existing and reactions that are naturally occurring in nature that are producing a lot of hydrogen. Like if we are to put hydrogen sensors anywhere right now, we'll detect it. The problem is that it's happening very, 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 very slowly. One of the key sources of hydrogen in the subsurface comes from iron-rich rocks, like basically, especially iron 2, that's reacting with water. And that reaction at ambient temperatures is happening very slowly. And we know that if we are to increase the temperature of the formation where that reaction is taking place, it will go a lot higher. And when I say a lot higher, we're talking about orders of magnitude higher. So that's where the whole GeoKiln, because we're adding heat to that formation. And this is where we want to take the existing oil and gas technologies, the one that I worked on, that the rest of our team worked on, that's been deployed, proven in many different locations throughout the globe. So we know that we can be injecting enough heat in the subsurface. We're talking megawatts if need to. And then
how do you inject the heat?
So you install long subsurface heaters, and when I say long, say half a mile to a mile long, and each heater would be outputting about, say, a megawatt to 2 megawatts of power. That's a lot of power that would be going in there.
Electrical heaters?
Electric resistive heaters. So if you imagine your toaster heating element, that's about, tiny little bit like this. Here it's going to be about yay big, and a mile long, sitting and cooking at 600 to 700 degrees C. Yep, that's a lot of power that goes into it. And the reason why we want to inject power is because subsurface is extremely unpredictable. Whenever we talk about injecting any kind of mass in the subsurface, you truly don't have any control where that thing goes, because your permeability contrast is what's determining where the mass will go. Say from nano-Darcy in solid matrix to I don't know, Darcy in fractures, you're talking about 9 orders of magnitude. Therefore, your sweep efficiency, or how uniform your front propagates, is extremely poor. You get a lot of the fingering, and therefore, overall sweep efficiency is low. Now, with heat, even though it's very slow, but it's extremely uniform. So looking at the immature shales and extra heavy oil days, we know that if you to do, say, steam injection or anything of that nature, your recovery factor, if you're lucky, say 20 to 30%. When we did that with the in situ upgrading process, the recovery factor was pushing 80 in certain instances. And that gives you a much bigger economic impact. And this is also where we want to say that instead of injecting, say, water, fluids, anything in the subsurface where you don't know where this thing goes, and all the concerns about, oh, will it contaminate my aquifers or anything of that nature. When you inject heat, you're much more constrained. It's more like a surgical injection, and that allows you to target specific formations without making sort of a lot of the negative impact around it.
And the water is already present?
We're targeting formations that will have water in fractures already. We know that if need to, we can always add water. Why if you can work with waters that are already sitting inside those formations? And there are plenty of examples from Oman to Minnesota and many other places.
Have you demonstrated this in the field or tested it in the field?
Do you want to take that first and then I jump in?
I was like, where we are. So I told you that we've been.
No. Where is it?
So I told you we're being here like 6-7 months.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So normally other kind of startups will take forever to actually get something as hardware intense oil and gas looking like millions of dollars expense into the ground. Well, I'm happy to say that in only 6 months we have now 4 different companies that are not just actually opening the doors, their assets, their land, and they want to deploy or to do a field test in their location. We don't own land, and that's it. There's a reason for it. Yeah, we are actually targeting February 26th, and that's the first time I'll say it publicly. Probably I'm like you, I'm trying not to say all the things, but this is coming, and we're targeting February 26th to be the first time we're going in on a hydrogen non-hydrocarbon bearing formation. We have done this before. We have produced hydrogen before when we were doing it in hydrocarbon formations, but this is the first ever that we'll use existing oil and gas technology, thermal stimulation, just for non-hydrocarbon bearing formation to produce hydrogen on a specific site.
Is there a reason to not do it in the oil bearing formation, or is this just...
Well, that's a loaded and fantastic question. So as we just heard with the previous talk is there are plenty of reasons. Now, the unfortunate part that oftentimes what I hear is anytime you produce hydrogen alongside with any kind of carbon molecule, people go, oh, it's no longer clean. And that's a bit of a challenge. I don't necessarily, in fact, I don't agree with it, but oftentimes that's the general consensus so far. We'd love to challenge that, and what you guys are doing is amazing, because this is what we need to do as a way to unlock more energy. This world needs more energy, and I think this is a key thing that we oftentimes forget about it when we say, oh, is that this or this? Both. There would always be opportunities and to use whatever the energy that's available, be geothermal, dense energy carrier, like if there's a free electrons, turn it into something awesome. Green hydrogen will have a place. But what we're looking for and what we're trying to go after is let's unlock this new resource, because if that happens, that allows for massive scalability and unlock volumes that are necessary for power generation, be data centers on a gigawatt scale. How do we do that? And once that happens, we can also explore other things, and maybe the general perception will go. But when we worked on the extra heavy oils and the immature shales, I think at that time we produced more hydrogen from subsurface than anybody else in the world to this day. But we cannot talk about it. It's all shell proprietary stuff and what have you. But our team, I think, we hold a bit of that record, which is yay.
Yeah.
But it was from hydrocarbon-bearing formations. Now we're going after inorganic, iron-rich.
Is it difficult to find the right place to do it then? I mean, we saw the BEG map of the rocks.
No.
And
That's what makes us super
No,
excited.
it's not. And thanks for BEG that is just, promoting that kind of information. We hope to continue to work more closely with them, because that is the kind of advertisement we want to do. Is this rock is everywhere. It is everywhere. We are not constrained on a very far away location where we can manufacture this hydrogen. We can manufacture here close to this place, that place, and going more on that testing site. I make a big call for universities, including UT. Why are we not doing more well stimulation testing? Why, can we move more on that sector? We've been working with the Association of Geological Hydrogen in the United States. That's what they're trying to do, to put a well so everybody can test. The more we can share, the more we can open ourselves. The more I see Prab getting close to his goals, the more I get excited, because hydrogen name is going to take a different reputation in the next few years. And I hope that geologic hydrogen will be that unlocking factor for the whole hydrogen market, not just for geologic, for everything, right? So anyways, just putting a note on that, call of action. If you want to talk more about it, I'm available. So
how expensive and is it difficult to put the resistive heater in the ground?
It's not difficult, because we've been doing that for quite some time in industry. So what we target, we want to target, say, $1.50 per kilogram of hydrogen at the wellhead. And this is, again, I hate using single numbers, because it's so difficult depending on the formation, where you are, what you're looking for. But our goal is to be competitive with the gray hydrogen, even without any kind of subsidies. It's another key element that I think subsidies are great only on the short-term scale, but nobody should be building their financial model on utilizing the subsidies. So our goal is to be competitive as an energy source, as hydrogen source, with the existing alternatives. And depending where you are, the market will make a choice which one's better.
Yep.
Are you finding it difficult to raise money for your startup now in the current climate? Or, I mean, there's a lot of capital out there, and people are always looking for things to invest in, and there's people who don't think about what they're doing and just invest what everyone else is. But I'm just curious.
So just to give you an idea, I'm not sure if we're the only startup out there that happened, but to this date, we haven't received a cent out of government money compared to any other effort out there for geologic hydrogen. So we've been plain and dry, bootstrap all the way in, and that is appealing to a lot of investors. And the fact that we have a lineup of people waiting for us to deploy this on their lands without even being landowners, but more of a JV partners of production, that is something appealing for those, that's kind of like a good business model to get into. So it is difficult. I started this thinking that we're going to go into this magic SBIR. We're going to be the ones getting all this DOE money, blah, blah, blah. I come in and then the whole thing shuts down. We're starting to figure it out where to go. It is hard, but it's not impossible. And investors are more than excited on the manufactured hydrogen, maybe more than an exploration right now. And that is something that it's not if, it's when. We just got to go get it. If one is not interested, we'll find another one, but we'll get.
I think the short answer is it's always difficult to raise money. I don't think there's ever a line of people saying, shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
I'd love to be in that position, but we're not there yet. I know that we got super lucky, and Lorna and I have been accepted into the Breakthrough Energy Fellowship, which we're super excited about.
Thank you.
And that definitely changed a lot of the conversations, because it allows us to speak with a bit more sort of weight whenever we approach anybody, so that changed. But in general, almost everybody is looking and waiting. Like, nobody wants to be the first. Well, almost everybody wants to be the second.
Yes.
Like, nobody wants to take the risk to being the first, but as soon as something's proven, oh yes, then.
Well, you heard Exxon, Martin is here. You heard him. It's like, well, wait, Wait, okay. So, but
Let's not name names. We like Martin a lot.
No, but it was incredible to hear it. I was like, yes, that is the feeling, not just of him, it's the whole industry. And even Shell is like, good luck, guys. You know, we'll see you when you make it, right? I'm like, okay, well, then it's gonna be more expensive, but okay, let's do it. You know, it's the whole overall feeling, and it's okay.
But at the same time, I think this is the prime time to really make a difference. The world's coming up to an end, like we will, not the end, sorry, to the point where well, maybe.
If we don't raise the money, if we don't raise the money, maybe, but.
No, but the point of energy transition, like going to more and more, like developing countries, they need even more power. Like our choice is, oh, let's save on efficiency here and there, 2%, 3%, but the world's growing at the pace that is like over 10% every year. So we need that extra power, and I think investor community is starting to realize that as well, and that's what we're super excited about.
Yeah.
Do you think your pilot will work in February?
I know it will work. And he's not a pilot. It is a testing or a screening of that specific geology that we're targeting. And we are going to be targeting many geologies, and we're going to be developing from that information we gather how we are going to commercialize on those sites. So piloting the technology, it's not what we're here about. It's about de-risking that subsurface so we can make money out of it and make it scalable and commercial. So that's, did I say the right thing? You're looking at me like I'm missing something.
It would be going back and forth.
The bad thing is like, I have him like this so I can see his face.
Well, so it's kind of like as Energy Institute director, I've been learning about the oil and gas industry quite a bit. I would say at UT, we have a startup company called Nanoborn that kind of came out of UT and is drilling fluids and things like that. And that this is what the founder talks about, is that you have a technology, it works in one geology, and then you've always got to go test it in the geology. Is that kind of similar to what you're looking at, or is it?
Yes, to a point. So let me elaborate a little bit, because what we're trying to say is we're not de-risking technology, we're de-risking geology. And what our goal is by 2030 have a large-scale commercial project in place, or 2 or 3, depending on how quickly, but at least 1. And on that scale, it's 30 to 50,000 tons of hydrogen a year. So in order to be there, we need to have a few matured leads, like building the whole pyramid, like what the oil and gas exploration typically goes through, where you have to carry out a very large set of geological paper studies, feasibility assessments. Then you go and do like a single well test in order to, okay, are my assumptions correct? Is it looking good? And then you slowly, in order to ensure you get to where you want to be by the time you want to be there, you need to have a large number of field studies. It's not trials, it's a study. You want to learn from geology. You want geology to be guiding your decisions as opposed to trying to sort of cook up a number that would be sitting in there. So therefore, the way we approach that field trial, it will be successful. Why? Because it will teach us something, and it will help us define better our strategy, and will get us closer to our final goal of having a commercial project by 2030.
Any last things you'd want to say? I guess I'm curious if there are other competing companies doing what you're doing. I mean, there's always someone in the space, I guess. I mean, I find it fascinating that Prab was the one who introduced me to you all. I guess as an external person, I'd think, oh, but you're competing, aren't you?
No,
maybe
I think
not.
No, because it's not competing, and I think that's the key. That in this space, we need collaboration in order to unlock this. We'll either fail individually or win collectively. Me and Lorna both are firm believers in that, and glad that Prab is sharing that approach, because we need success stories. We need to be able to unlock that. And the size of the pie that's available is so massive that we'll all be benefiting from that. If we look at the size of gray hydrogen, it's about 100 million metric tons that's being used globally in 2025, which is about $150 billion. If GeoKiln can take 5%, it's $7.5 billion a year. We would be super happy if that happens. And it's only 5% of the existing market. So that's where, rather than trying to stay in our silo, what's important is increase that collaboration, because to me, this is where things will come in. And to me, the events like this today and working with the BEG is like the right way of making sure that the learning gets properly shared and allows other ideas to come in. We're not competing, we're all trying to unlock this. And in various places, various technologies and various approaches will be more successful than others. But it doesn't mean that we should be like elbowing and saying, no, kill them. Nope, quite the opposite.
I think that it's not a competition itself. You know, like two things that I want to say really quick is one is there's a lot of stimulation technology that is ongoing in terms of developing the technology for stimulation, and more so after these conferences, I'm sure that other students are going to start doing things and whatnot. Ours is way ahead because it's been proven. So that's one thing. That if it's a race, yes, it is a race, right? But do I want to stop everybody else from doing it? No, I want this to be a reality. I want hydrogen to become the next energy source in the world, right? And the other thing is share what you can share to advance the progress of this next energy source. Unlocking this to the future will come because people are working together, not in silos. And so I know Prab knows that, we know that. If you have a Google search for new geologic companies, you will see that, I'm not gonna say 60%, 70%, kind of like that percentage comes from Texas. This is Texas. We are doing this in the whole world. We're concentrated right here. So take a look if you're interested, and if you want to talk more, you can come and talk to us. But I'm putting everybody on the table, not just GeoKiln. We're doing this from good oil and gas people that are recognizing the impact that hydrogen can have. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lorna, Alexei. Really
Thank you.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.